In this video, we're going to go over some of the data collection features. So here I'm starting with page 7 and I'm looking down the content of page 7, 8, and 9, noticing they're all dilemmas. So what I'm going to do is just edit some of these dilemmas to make sure they're all on one page instead of separate pages. So here I'm just editing away at the content. I went and copied and pasted all of that, so it's all going to be page 7. Go to a new chat, ask for an interactive HTML page, and then same as before, I go and copy the style guide. So I paste the style guide in there, ask for it on a canvas, and this time it's got all my dilemmas going to be on one page instead of separate pages. So here's checking the interactivity. There was an issue, so Gemini identified there was an issue when I was testing it. Fix the issue, going and checking the dilemmas as I go down the page. And then here it's got a submit button, but on this page I didn't actually want the students to submit anything, to collect anything. So I'm just going to change that to be complete instead of submit reflections. But you could get it to submit on that if you wanted to. So I'll go and copy the page, start a new page, and this time it'll be page 7. And my page 7, I'll paste that in there like before. Preview the page, check the interactivity, make sure it's all typing, which it is. And then I'll go back to look at my final page. So this time the knowledge check is going to be on page 8 of mine. Here I'm just going to ask for another question. So I've got 3 questions instead of 2 for my multiple choice. And then my extended response will be 2 extended responses. But the difference this time is I want this to be able to collect the data. So I'll do the same as before. I'm going to go start a new chat for my page 8. I'll go and pop that in, ask for an interactive design, get the style guide, so it's going to keep the same style, and then it'll go and create that quiz for me. Go and check the quiz here as I go down the page. It's awesome, test submitted, but at the moment the submit button doesn't do anything. So before I go and ask for any data collection, I'm going to just go make a couple of edits here. So it highlights this for me. Here again, I'm just making some edits to get a visual indication that it's been completed before I ask for any changes with data. So I'll just go and put that in there. It's when it made those changes for me. And then I'll go and check the page. So it's highlighting it. This time when I press submit, it actually does something. So the page is ready. It's giving me an indication. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask to be able to collect the data. So to collect the data on a page like this, what I'm going to be doing is, you can see I'm writing there, I'm using a Google AppScript webhook. So what that is in a Google Sheet, you can use something called AppScript, and AppScript will fill in the sheet on your behalf based on the responses of the students here. So here I'm asking to be able to collect the student's name and class at the top, which is currently there. And then what I want it to do is give an ID field to all of the input fields, and then use those IDs in order to put them into the Google Sheet. So the webhook means that they're going to be able to talk to each other. So here I'm asking the chat to not only set that up in the code, but then also give me step-by-step instructions on how I should set up the Google Sheet to be able to get this to talk to each other. So here it's going to create that for me. It's going to use the Fetch API in order to add the webhook information into the code. And then it's going to give me step-by-step instructions that I can follow to set up my Google Sheet and AppScript to be able to talk to each other. So here it's got the student name and class added in, and you can see on the left in the chat, it's starting to say, this is how you prepare your Google Sheet. So all I'll do is I will go through and follow these one step at a time to set up my AppScript, and then it will be able to collect the data for me. So that's the process I'm going through here. I'm going to start a new Google Sheet because that's what it's told me to do. And then within the Google Sheet, it's told me to set up these headers for the columns. So here I'm adding in the header names for the different columns of my Google Sheet. I'm going to put them in to my Google Sheet and then look at the next step. So the next step says I need to go to extensions, AppScript, put in this code into the AppScript. So I've copied that code and then I'll go back to my Google Sheet. I'm just reading some of the information. So it's got the next steps actually on the code there. So that's what I'm just looking at here. It would have preferred it underneath, but it still works on the code. So I'll go back to my Google Sheet, and then at the top you can see there's the extensions tab, and then in the extensions tabs there's AppScript. So that'll open up into a new tab. And then as it said, I'm going to paste in the code that it gave me. So I've pasted in the code that it gave me, and now I'm reading the next step and instructions. So what it says is to deploy, select it as a web app, and then give it some permissions to be able to talk to each other. So I go to deploy, go to new app, I press the settings, press web app, change the description, and then I've just looked for the description. So it's give me a description name, but that doesn't really matter. And then I go and press deploy after I look at the next instructions. So it says make sure that everyone has access, not just myself. And then that means it's got permissions to talk to each other. I press deploy and there's an issue. You can see the error message gives me a clue of what the issue is because it says line 24. So I'm able to go back to my script here. Look at line 24. You can see there's red lines everywhere at line 24 because that was the instructions, not the actual app script. So what I had to do is delete the instructions from the code and then go back through the process. So go to deploy, new deployment, create a web app, make sure permissions for everyone. And then this time you can see it's actually loading through and working. And then what I have to do is I go through multiple steps of authorization. So because we're allowing something to make changes within our Google Drive, we have to go through the permissions to make sure that it has changes. Here it's saying, do you trust the developer? Yes, I'm the developer. So I definitely trust the developer. Gives another warning. So it gives multiple warnings to make sure that you understand the risks of putting something online. But this instance, I'm just collecting data within my own Google Drive. So it's only me making changes, which is fine. What I need to do now is copy this web app URL. So this web app URL is going to be the communicator between the Google Sheet and the website. So that's what we call a webhook. So we can use this web app URL as a webhook within our code. So I've gone back to look at the instructions. In the instructions, it says find the line that says constant webhook URL. And this is where we're going to put that URL that we just copied. So it suggested line 214. It wasn't on line 214. So here I'm going to use the Command F and search for webhook, and there I found it on line 287. And then within the speech marks is where I'm going to put my URL. So I paste it in there, and then I can copy the whole HTML code. And then here I'm just testing the site to see that the webhook's working. So because we've put the webhook URL in here, it should work in this preview. So I've gone through and filled in the information, pressed success, and you can see my Google Sheet has the data in there. So it's collected my name, class, and my responses. And then here I'm just adjusting my Google Sheet. So that's working within the preview. I go and copy the code, start a new page on my Google site, embed that code within my Google site. And then in preview, I do the same thing. I go and test that the webhook's working, press the button to send the information to the instructor, go back to my Google Sheet, and you can see that I've got a second data entry. So the data entry is working through Google AppScript in my website to collect the data. Everything's done now, so I've got all my pages ready. I go to publish the site. Now I'm viewing the main site, double checking everything's working through the pages. Everything's working, and I have my interactive Google site to send to the students to enhance my lessons. I've got a data collection at the end. I've put my own videos and images into it, and it's got interactivity to engage the students. So hopefully this has been a helpful process to see how I create interactive learning for my students.